Nantaba. We come to you live from the Nile Avenue, and a very good morning to you. Thank you for choosing UBC TV this early morning and allowing us to start the day with you. Now, looking at some of the updates that we have, of course, Ebola is the talk. The Ministry of Health has advised the public to be on high alert after 2 isolated imported Ebola cases involving Congolese nationals were confirmed. The Director General of Health Services at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Charles Olaro, confirms that whereas the first case died, the second is undergoing treatment at Mulago Isolation Center. Uganda has registered 2 isolated imported Ebola cases involving Congolese nationals, and the Ministry of Health has challenged the public to be on high alert and observe standard operating procedures, but also report any suspected cases. According to the Ministry of Health, movements cannot be restricted, but screening, especially at border points, has been strengthened. And the public is also encouraged to understand that the symptoms of Ebola are weighing needed to be understood. Uganda has recorded 8 cases of Ebola between 2000 and 2026. But still more of the updates regarding that, an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has raised concerns among experts, having detected the disease late and the pace at which it's spreading rapidly. Now also the Ministry of Health has flagged several districts as being at very high risks for the spread of Ebola due to cross-border movement, trade and population interaction. In Western region, districts along the Uganda-DRC borderline identified by the Ministry of Health that are at high risk of spreading the Ebola virus. Now they include, of course, the western part, Kasese, Toroko, Chisoro, Bunyagubu, Fort Porto, Bundibujo, Kanungu, Rubirizi, and Kabarole there. Districts that indeed are of high risk. But looking at West Nile, we do have Nebi, Pakwach, Lamuo, Zombo, and Bulisa. Now, other districts on there, Hoima, Kiriandongo, on there are also risk, districts that are considered to be of high risk Ebola districts. And the public is advised to remain alert and strictly maintain standard operating procedures. Early prevention and community cooperation are essential in stopping the spread of Ebola. Wash hands regularly with soap or use a sanitizer. That's very important, although many don't want to wash their hands. But it's rather, as they say lately, chiamba gwe. But also avoid unnecessary physical contact. Indeed, that's something that you have to look at in regards to physical contact, but also report suspected symptoms immediately to health authorities and avoid contact with sick persons or bodies of the deceased. Also maintain cleanliness in homes, places of work, and public spaces. Now, the European Union has offered 8 million euros to help combat the Ebola outbreak in Uganda, and the funds that will be channeled to the Ebola response team through the International Red Cross Society that will help address critical needs related to coordination, surveillance, infection prevention, and control case management, operation support, screening at border points, and logistics. Let's take a listen.
The European Union ambassador to Uganda, Jean Sadek, says the funding will mitigate the spread of Ebola and strengthen the country's response mechanisms. He revealed that there will be an additional support to Uganda Red Cross to coordinate their activities in combating the outbreak of the Ebola virus. He was on a working visit in Bunyoro sub-region.
The Ugandan response, we have just decided about an 8 million euro support to the International Red Cross to help on health aspects, surveillance, border crossings and so on, and also a flexible mechanism of 1 million euros that can be used by the Ugandan Red Cross as well. are already activating our resources, and hopefully we shall, together of course with the important Ugandan response, we are hopeful that the situation can come under control here in Uganda.
The European Union ambassadors led by SADC are in Bunyoro sub-region to understand their region, including its opportunities, challenges, culture, history and ongoing developments.
The French government started a feasibility study with National Water and Sewage Corporation to expand the water distribution network. And just a few weeks ago we signed an agreement with Uganda Development Bank to support entrepreneurship for the youth and for agriculture activities.
Andrew Byakutaga, the Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom Prime Minister, says that the people of Bunyoro have been engaged in various activities, mostly agriculture, and urges the ambassadors to support the institution in this sector.
Your Excellencies, agriculture remains the backbone of our economy and the main source of livelihood for our people. Bunyoro is blessed with the fertile soils, favorable climate, water resources, and hard-working people. The Kingdom has continued to mobilize communities towards commercial agriculture, coffee growing, value addition, modern farming methods, climate-smart agriculture, and agribusiness development.
Edward Isingoma, the Hoima City Mayor, has highlighted some of the key areas that the EU can support.
Hoima City respectively proposes joint investment in health.
All right, that is an update on Ebola. We pause it here for now, but once again, I welcome you to the show. This is Good Morning Uganda. My name is Julie F. Nentaba, and of course, as always, I'm with a fellow Arsenal Guna, or Ghana, really. And finally, right?
It's been a long wait.
Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono.
Julie.
I can't imagine the joy. I thought about you last night, and I kept on thinking, I wonder what is happening.
That was
right
praying
now.
for that match to end.
All right.
When it was still 1-0. Now, extra time, that goal comes in. I almost fainted. I almost fainted. So my prayer was that after that goal,
right,
we don't get a second goal before the final whistle. Now there came in a free kick. I was like, goodness Lord, what is going to happen? But I must say it's been a long wait, Julie.
I know,
we
20
can't
years
express
on.
how happy we are. We are going to paint the streets. You wait.
I just hope they are painted responsibly. As it is, Uganda is for God and not for yourself and whatever selfish benefit. But Robert, what do we have on the locus in this morning?
Well, we have the pardoning of Turkanas, the process. Now, on March 2022, Turkana warriors from the neighboring Kenya crossed into Uganda in Rampa sub-county, Moroto district, and killed 3 Ugandan geologists and 2 UPDF officers. The warriors were pursued by UPDF, arrested, and prosecuted and convicted to Kitara prison. Since then, Kenyan government has been negotiating for the pardon of these inmates. A delegation from Kenya, led by Presidential Special Envoy John Munez, met with the Vice President and requested for the pardon of their citizens. However, although President Museveni, through the Vice President, acknowledged that the Kenyan nationals can be pardoned, he wants the technical teams of both countries to come up with compensation mode and cost. Other conditions set are engaging the affected families and consult elders of both families to ensure reconciliation before pardoning. Authorities believe undertaking a reconciliation process other than imprisonment fosters a better bilateral relation. The Ugandan delegation, together with the Kenyan delegation, together with the Ugandan counterparts, visited the affected families, the Turkana warriors in Kitara prison, before the 2 presidents will formalize the pardon agreement. In the Tuesday, 19th May 2026 press conference for the Democratic Party President Norbert Mao kicked off with a disclaimer. Without Mao taking further to address he urged the people that were present and said that competition should focus on future of Parliament and the country at large, with many taking him off the Speaker's race on account of not being an NRM member. Mao responded. The Democratic Party president toned in excitement about the ongoing corruption investigations in the corridor of Parliament, targeting the former Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among. He said the current situation exposes much inefficiencies in government and leadership. In this case, Mao counts himself to what he has so far been striving for, saying Anita Among is out of office and now another person should be ready to take over. On the other hand, Mao has called for auditing of the operations of Parliament. To the opposition, who have for years doubted Mao, he demands for an applause from him. Sorry, it is an applause from them. The NRM party leaders, Mao has set the tone towards them. Mao reiterates that the speakership race must move beyond individual and party colors. However, to his surprise, corridor endorsements continue to flow in, mostly from the Patriotic League of Uganda group. In a moment, the NRM Parliamentary Caucus was invited to take the last step onto this matter. By 10 a.m., the corridors leading to the 5th floor, which accommodates the office of the former Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, had already been marked as a crime scene. CID officers cordoned off the area found in the east wing of Parliamentary building. The search operation are part of the activities which started on Saturday at Anita Among's residence in Nakasero over claims of illicit enrichment and money laundering. The search activities kicked off, witnessed by Anita Among's lawyer Caleb Alaka, the auditors from State House. It is also possible that the investigation will extend to the office of the Clerk to Parliament, Adolf Mwesije. Tuesday was a busy day, unusual at Parliament, as security vehicles filled the parking lot, including an evidence response van. All eyes were awaiting for what the officers could walk out with from the respective search offices. It is allegedly that the former Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, surrounded herself with illicit wealth acquired from corrupt tendencies, including mismanagement of parliamentary finances. Former Speaker withdrew from the speakership race of the 12th Parliament, leaving West Budama Central MP Jacob Oboth for speakership and Thomas Tayebwa as deputy. The investigations against Anita Among have been described as among the high-profile cases of corruption so far registered in Uganda as the NRM government starts its 7th term. Chisanja, no sleep. By press time, the CID officers and sister security agencies were still in Parliament conducting such activities in the offices, including of the former Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, the Clerk to Parliament, Adolf Mwesije, and the Director of Finance, Patrick Kunova. Well, with that story, Parliament being a crime scene, we come to the end of our local stories. Let's see what, Julie, you have for us on the international scene.
Indeed, who knew? I wonder if you've watched a clip of Honorable Mao talking about who knew. And that one of the who knews is who knew that a Katwe touring vehicle would tow a whole Rolls Royce.
I think the most clip I've watched that is very interesting for me was, I'll be in this seat until I'm tired.
Wowza. On to what is on the foreign scene. We're starting with matters Putin and his visit to Beijing. Russian President Vladimir Putin is set to visit China on Tuesday and Wednesday for talks with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Less than a week after U.S. President Donald Trump concluded his own visit to Beijing. Very interesting visits here. But the visit comes at a delicate moment for China, which is seeking to maintain stable relations with the United States while preserving its close partnership with Russia. It also coincides with the 25th anniversary of the Sino-Russian Treaty of Friendship signed in 2001. According to Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, the trip will provide an opportunity for Russia and China to exchange views and receive direct updates on Beijing's recent discussions with Washington. The Kremlin said Putin and Xi are expected to discuss expanding economic cooperation as well as key international and regional issues. China has emerged as one of Russia's most important trading partners since Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. While Beijing has maintained that it is neutral in the conflict, it has continued economic engagement with Russia, despite sweeping sanctions imposed by the United States and Europe. Looking at Putin's picture reminds me of a video where he was speaking English, because it's rare to find him speak English. And it's one of those rare videos Putin was speaking English. Really? He was in the presence of Queen Elizabeth, though.
Wow,
so
I missed that. I missed
it's
that.
somewhere on the internet.
How was his English?
Perfect English. He speaks.
Not AI?
Oh, not AI. Perfect, but Russian accent. But still,
I'll hunt for that one.
It's eloquent enough and clear enough for one to understand what he's saying. But on to more news on the global scene. United States President Donald Trump, his family and his businesses have been granted immunity from any ongoing audits into their tax affairs, according to a directive by the Department of Justice.
Is it permanent immunity, or in case he leaves power?
Oh, well,
such will continue.
The move on Tuesday came as an addendum to Trump's agreement a day earlier to settle a $10 billion lawsuit against the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, over the leak of his tax information to media outlets between 2018 and 2020. And in a one-page document signed by Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, the Justice Department said authorities would be forever barred and precluded from prosecuting or pursuing tax claims against Trump,
Forever.
members of his family, and his businesses.
So these were not very different from us.
Indeed. Now, the document, which was posted on the Justice Department's website without any official announcement or press release, stipulates that the waiver applies to inquiries that are currently pending or that could be pending, including any related to tax returns filed by Trump before Monday's settlement. Democratic lawmakers immediately blasted the move. Senator Adam Schiff of California accused the Trump administration of engaging in corruption and self-dealing. Africa on a white man's land, in a way. Anyways, transport operators in Kenya have suspended their nationwide strike following talks with the government over rising fuel prices. And the operators said that the suspension will remain in place until next Tuesday to allow for further negotiations with the government. The move comes after the nationwide strike, which brought the capital Nairobi and other cities to a standstill, entered a second day on Tuesday. At least 4 people were killed and 30 injured in Monday's protests, with more than 700 arrested nationwide. And according to the authorities, this was gathered. Now, on Tuesday, Interior Minister Kipchumba Murkomen said the deal to end the strike came after consultations with public transport representatives, and negotiations at a higher level would be conducted within the next week. Quote unquote, we have had a breakthrough not because we are satisfied, but we want to give negotiations a chance, said Edwin Mukabane, the national chairman of the Federation of Public Transport Sector. If this is not taken seriously within the 7 days, the strike will be back, he added. Major roads in Nairobi were still largely empty on Tuesday morning, with businesses shut and schools closed.
There's something interesting I've seen there. One of the protesters holding, that is a placard showing the price of fuel in Tanzania, price of fuel in Kenya and Uganda. And what is very impressive is, much as Uganda is a landlocked country, the price of fuel in Uganda is cheap.
It's way more affordable, yes,
compared to the price of fuel in Kenya. Now, most of the times when certain things happen, we are good at making comparisons.
Right.
You see this, you see Uganda today. Let's also make that positive comparison.
And give honor where it's due, and thank every stakeholder and player, making sure that our fuel is affordable, at least to a certain degree, despite what's happening and compared to the rest of East Africa. All right, let's dig deep into what the dailies have this morning. And we want to look at the new vision on there, which has, I think, Robert, you should take this on.
Well, we have, of course, among 30 MPs on police radar. Now, CID Combs, ex-speaker's office, has been banned from leaving the country.
Wow.
Okay. Now, still in the new vision this morning, we have why stroke is attacking youth. These non-communicable diseases. Prisons ordered to produce Chivumbi in tourism case. Still looking at the new vision, there is that is pass O level, and they have brought you what you need to know. There is chemistry study guide inside. Do not miss physics tomorrow. And then coming to the Daily Monitor, Uganda gets more powers in Kenya pipeline operations. And still looking at the Daily Monitor, final sweep. Then there is a notice there. Notice crime scene, do not cross. That is the office of the Speaker of Parliament bearing that. What does that mean at such a time? Still, we have Ebola, 127 health workers here, contacts quarantined. And we still have Starlink gets go ahead to provide satellite internet. Now, Julie, this satellite internet is a milestone. Because for it you don't have these cables digging, you don't have places where you cannot access internet. All you need is a dish, and then in any part of this country you're able to get internet. So these issues of moving up country, then maybe there's somewhere I'll be off internet. Starlink has brought this to an end. Who is who in among probe? Corruption probe expands to Parliament. Queries as Tayebwa gets CDF nod for second term. Thomas Tayebwa, coming back as Deputy Speaker of Parliament, gets a nod from Chief of Defense Forces, and that's the chairman of the Patriotic League of Uganda.
Indeed, indeed. Now let's have a quick look at the rest of East Africa. And thereon we do start with, we got to Kenya. That is the Daily Nation on there. And of course, it's all about the fuel, the strike with public transport officers, how state can lower fuel prices. That's the headline on there. And experts, fuel crisis exposes CSs. And more of the stories, matters crime, court orders destruction of drugs vessel. And Ebola deaths in DRC hit 131 as virus spreads. Also, Kenya draws SA in 2027 AFCON qualifiers. And woman who quit business for family wins half of ex's assets. Interesting one. That ends the stories that we have as updates this morning. And allowing us to have a short break. When we get back, we'll be talking about the World Meteorology Day 2026. Do you even know what it means? Do you know what meteorology is? All of that is what we are...
Predict, I hope it's going to rain then. Please ask them.
It's not meteorology, it's metrology.
Oh.
Yes.
Sorry. At first I thought it was those.
No. It's not meteor, it's metro. Meaning in meters, wind skills and things like that. We're learning more, really, unlearning and relearning in just a bit. Just make sure that you save the number 0709 602592 so that you send a WhatsApp message and ask those questions, as well as share your opinions and experiences at that. Good morning. Good morning, Uganda. A very special good morning to all Ugandan EPL champions fans. The Arsenals finally shot a shot. The shot landed, and indeed it landed very well in. This is UBC TV that you are watching, and my name is Julie F. Nantaba. We come to you live from the Nile Avenue, and a very good morning to you. Thank you for choosing UBC TV this early morning and allowing us to start the day with you. Now, looking at some of the updates that we have, of course, Ebola is the talk. The Ministry of Health has advised the public to be on high alert after 2 isolated imported Ebola cases involving Congolese nationals were confirmed. The Director General Health Services at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Charles Olaro, confirms that whereas the first case died, the second is undergoing treatment at Mulago Isolation Center. Uganda has registered 2 isolated imported Ebola cases involving Congolese nationals, and the Ministry of Health has challenged the public to be on high alert and observe standard operating procedures, but also report any suspected cases. According to the Ministry of Health, movements cannot be restricted, but screening, especially at border points, has been strengthened. And the public is also encouraged to understand that the symptoms of Ebola are weighing needed to be understood. Uganda has recorded 8 cases of Ebola between 2000 and 2026. But still more of the updates regarding that, an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has raised concerns among experts, having detected the disease late and the pace at which it's spreading rapidly. Now also the Ministry of Health has flagged several districts as being at very high risks for the spread of Ebola due to cross-border movement, trade and population interaction. In Western region, districts along the Uganda-DRC borderline identified by the Ministry of Health that are at high risk of spreading the Ebola virus. Now they include, of course, the western part, Kasese, Toroko, Chisoro, Bunyagubu, Fort Porto, Bundibujo, Kanungu, Rubirizi, and Kabarole there. Districts that indeed are of high risk. But looking at West Nile, we do have Nebi, Pakwach, Lamuo, Zombo, and Bolisa. Now, other districts on there, Hoima, Kiriandongo, on there are also risk, districts that are considered to be of high risk Ebola districts. And the public is advised to remain alert and strictly maintain standard operating procedures. Early prevention and community cooperation are essential in stopping the spread of Ebola. Wash hands regularly with soap or use a sanitizer. That's very important, although many don't want to wash their hands. But it's rather, as they say lately, chiamba gwe. But also avoid unnecessary physical contact. Indeed,